Today we took some time to sift through the entirety of the Andrew Callaghan, trigger warning, sexual assault allegations, as well as the apparent missing piece of evidence against him. Caroline, the woman bringing up the allegations, has released 3 TikTok videos explaining the matter. Let's take a look.
I never in a million years thought that I would be making this video, and I'm shaking because I've tried a couple different times and haven't been able to get my point across, but I don't like seeing abusers get platforms. And my abuser, Andrew Callaghan, also known as All Gas No Breaks, Channel 5, and whatever his new HBO show's called, I forget, has been plastered all over my news feed, and I've tried to come to him person to person and try to get him to take accountability for what he did, but his version of what happened the night that he assaulted me is so skewed. So I will tell you that he did eventually get consent. And that's the main point, is that he eventually got consent because he wore me down.
This is also known as coercion, which is assault and is illegal.
He told me he needed a place to stay for the night. He had some sort of falling out with one of his crew members or whatever, and I was very clear about the fact that we are not hooking up. He gets in my bed and wears me down to the point where I eventually do agree to do things that I wasn't proud of. And I wasn't proud of them and thought it was my fault for so long that I continued to be nice to him after the situation. He wouldn't leave my house the next morning. And then as time went on and I processed things, I thought, you know what, just because eventually I said, okay, whatever, because I was trying to just get the whole night over with so that it could be morning so that he could leave, it doesn't discount the fact that I told him no. I told him no so many times prior to this. I said, I'm tired, I'm not really feeling it. I came up with any excuse that I possibly could to just get him off of me. And he still found a way to coerce me into things that I didn't want to do. And this is really hard for me to say. I never thought I would come forward, but it's even more hard to have to relive the trauma that I endured every single day by seeing this man as a social justice warrior, as someone who cares about human rights, get a platform. You shouldn't be supporting him. And at the end of the day, like, I've told close friends of mine, I've tried coming out about this before, and he texted me saying that it basically ruined his life.
Now this is interesting. Later on in the video series, which we'll soon get to, she released text messages showing proof that they met up. But she does not release text messages that say that this basically ruined his life. This leads to viewer speculation and skepticism about the receipts.
And that his life was over now because of things that I said, and other women have come forward to me, but this is my first time publicly talking about it on a platform like TikTok, because I hope it gets traction. I hope people listen to me. I hope that if something similar has happened to you, that you know that that's not your fault. It wasn't my fault what happened to me, just because I eventually caved. This is so hard to do, but I eventually, I was really hoping that he would eventually take accountability, but he just texted me this skewed version of what he thought had happened.
Again, she chooses not to show us this series of text messages. Perhaps to avoid letting him tell his side of the story while she is telling hers, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it leads to further skepticism about the receipts.
And in that moment, it wasn't fight or flight, it was freeze. I froze, and I couldn't control my body anymore. Not to mention, he got me really drunk that night. He was trying to buy me all kinds of the best kinds of tequila at the dive bar we were at. And a lot of people don't believe me. I've got receipts, I've got photos of us, I've got text messages, but you shouldn't need that. You should believe me, and you should stop supporting Andrew Callaghan. Take away his platform. He doesn't deserve it.
Taking a brief moment, we fast forward to the part where she shows the text messages, which again only provides proof that they met up.
This was Andrew and I agreeing to hang out when he was in St. Pete. This was us the night at the bar.
She does not show the text messages that discuss any wrongdoing. Now, going back to the video series, we have part 2 out of 3 where she addresses some of the commenters who are asking for receipts.
I just wanted to come on here really quickly and say that I'm actually working with some people who have come forward in my TikTok comments and in my DMs, people who I've talked to when I first started opening up about this last year. And they're sharing their stories, but I want to make sure that they're comfortable with me sharing their stories before I move forward.
This is important. More people coming forward oftentimes implies a pattern of behavior. It can be easily digested that because there are multiple people saying the same thing, then it is true. We will hear some of their stories later in this video.
As far as what happened with him and I will include, I guess, some more evidence within that. I really just kind of needed to get my word out there. I wasn't expecting to post that video. I've been going through a really hard time with all of this. People in my life know that it's affected my relationships, it's affected my life. It's been incredibly hard, and it took a lot for me to post that video in the first place. So to all of the apologists and people standing up for him in the comments, you know, I really hope that something like this never happens to you and you never have to know what it's like. I'm not going to post the receipts because I feel like you deserve them.
Sorry, what? Is she perhaps using the royal you to imply that Andrew doesn't deserve to be able to tell his side of the story? Or is she saying that you, the viewers, do not deserve the text message receipts? This is a confusing statement. Let's run that back.
I'm not going to post the receipts because I feel like you deserve them. I don't really care about Andrew at this point. My whole point in calling him out is because I want other women to feel like they have a safe space, they have a person to talk to, because I'm not the only person that this happened to. I will be sharing more information. I will be sharing their stories once I have the permission. I'm really deeply anxious right now. I'm also have other things going on in my life. You know, I'm trying to respond to the comments as much as possible. If you look through the comments, you'll see that I've answered every single one of these questions.
We sifted through the comments, which you will see more of later on.
And you'll also see that other people said that this happened to them, or they've experienced something similar, or he's made them uncomfortable. So, like I said, I'm getting some more information together. I still have people coming forward with stories up until literally 2 minutes ago. I just got another DM about someone else experiencing something similar. So I want to take my time with this. I want to be patient about it, and I appreciate the people who've been supportive. It's taking everything in me to not just fully break down, because this isn't easy. And the people who have experienced this, I'm so sorry you have. You know how hard it is. Yeah, that's all I've got to say for now, but I will be making a follow-up video, and I'll provide a lot more information, not only about my situation, but about the other victims as well.
Here is the third video where she breaks down other victims' stories as well as displaying the text messages and photo we saw earlier. Most, if not all, of the other victims' stories seem to have been sent to her in the comments or via direct message after she came forward. Let's watch.
In regards to the whole Andrew Callaghan situation, this is the last time that I'm going to be talking about it. A friend of mine texted and asked if I was okay because she saw my post on Reddit. That wasn't me that posted on Reddit. I'm getting a lot of hate. You guys, seem to need receipts. You know, someone speaking up about their story isn't enough, so I'm going to share with you some, I guess, evidence that I was with him that night. I didn't have a camera set up in my bedroom, so I don't know what to tell you. You're just going to have to take my word for it, and if you don't, that's okay. This is the last time I'm ever going to talk about this. And I've made my TikTok private, so if anyone wants to share what I'm saying with the people on Reddit, feel free to do that, but I can't mentally handle this anymore. This was Andrew and I agreeing to hang out when he was in St. Pete. This was us the night at the bar. We went into the bathroom to take a photo because this bar, the bathroom has its own Instagram page, and it's just something people do at that bar. Also, like I said many times before, I trusted him, you know, and people are blaming me for trusting him, and I did, you know, and it is what it is.
She seems very reluctant to share any additional text messages, perhaps out of fear, perhaps she deleted them, or perhaps they never existed in the first place. It's impossible to know from our perspective at this point with the slow drip of information we have available to us thus far. The video continues as she shares victim stories.
This is a comment from someone who I've been speaking with about what happened to her. This is a message I got about a year ago from someone who said that he been known to associate with underage girls. This is the story from the same person of her experience. You can pause to read any of this stuff. This is about how he was canceled on his French Quarter confession show when he went to Loyola because of the same sorts of allegations. You can pause to read that. Just another story. He's got a list of women who he gets to give them head.
This is incel behavior.
Another instance of sexual assault. And I'm keeping these people private, and they've all consented to me sharing their stories. And I'm doing so because I've already put my face out there. I'm already getting all the hate. It is what it is at this point. There's another story. More people saying that they've heard about this before. Another story. My inbox is flooded with people saying that they are proud of me for speaking up because they're too scared to, so I'm sharing their stories for them. This is absolutely taking a huge toll on my mental health. I can see that a lot of you don't want to believe women when they come forward about things, and I've just got to say that says a lot about your personality and who you are. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to do, and if you think I'm making it up, that's on you.
It is important to take all of this at face value. When someone says, believe all women, it simply means, do not reflexively disbelieve women, especially when they come forward about sexual assault. Some men do have the tendency to reflexively disbelieve women, but I'm sure those same men would want to be heard at face value if they were abused by other man or by a woman. Transversely, we must recognize that we also cannot reflexively believe people's stories. One thing you learn by being on Earth is that humans lie a lot. She mentioned that there were text messages between Andrew and herself about the matter at hand where he said that this would ruin his life. Sharing such text messages with viewers would alleviate a great deal of doubt that some viewers seem to have about the situation. The reason she provides for why she cannot share the text messages is basically that she is busy, anxious, and it would be triggering. The outcome of this results in a lack of clarity and full transparency in her communication with viewers. That being said, let's take a look at the commenters coming forward as well as the culture and attitudes possessed by the people getting involved. First, let's note the positive outpouring of support for the bravery of the victim who was finally able to publicly come forward to allow this situation to face the heat. We see many commenters sharing sentiments praising the victim and wishing her well. There is also a darker side of the comments section. Some of the comments verge on misogyny or are outright misogynistic. Fortunately, they only make up a small percentage of the comments on her videos. There is an additional third faction of commenters who cast doubt into the situation without being outright rude or politically incorrect. These commenters ask her to release the full text messages showing what she described, where Andrew responds that his life was ruined. They demand more proof beyond the text messages she already released which show they simply met up. In addition, there are some reactionary comments that try to antagonize the victim, attempt to minimize the situation, and attempt to throw blame. These people have access to limited information just like us. These types of comments tend to be more emotionally charged reactions than any form of genuine criticism. We also have jokes. Actually, one joke total. Kudos to this brave soul. Never trust an Andrew. We also noticed in the comments were people who describe having had an encounter with Andrew Callaghan or describe interactions from mutual friends. Some of this could be hearsay, but it's impossible to know for sure, for now. This leads us to the next part of our story where a second woman comes forward describing similarly creepy interactions with Andrew. We will not show her videos as it is redundant. It is a description in video form of an uncomfortable sexual assault encounter. Similar to the first victim, she offers proof in text message form that she and Andrew met up. Also similar to the first victim, she does not offer text messages or anything that Andrew said that would show some sort of receipt. She does mention that the text messages between her and Andrew took place on an old phone number which she no longer has access to. This is normal and it happens. This differs from the first victim's explanation that going through the text messages would be triggering. Including these missing text messages as evidence is crucially important to creating their story and making it believable. The reason people are looking for the text messages the first victim described is because seeing Andrew talk about it himself would provide proof that he was involved with sexual assault. In conclusion, we hope this type of analysis can help victims come forward and create cases for themselves that are more rock-solid in the eyes of skeptics. We offer our support and empathy for the victims and everyone affected by this situation. We hope to hear from Caroline again, and we hope that she will one day find the time and emotional strength to go through those text messages and show to us what happened to supplement her explanation. We also hope to hear from Andrew to hear his side of the tale. Until then, we wait. It's not impossible that the first victim is a psyop and the second victim is a real person coming forward. We leave that up to the viewers to decide. When pain and suffering surfaces months or even years after the fact, many people feel powerless because they might think that going to the police is their only route to pursue justice. You may also seek out a lawyer to create a case, but you must act quickly if you choose to pursue damages. The more evidence you have against the person, the stronger your case becomes. In the end, this is not just a women's issue, and it should be taken seriously even by people who do not consider themselves to be feminists. Men can also experience sexual assault. We should apply the same standard you would wish to be offered if you were in such a situation. Do unto others or some such.